Hey, everyone. Gonna get this going live. Oops. Clicked on the wrong button. Alrighty. See if it works. All right, if you're tuning in, we are live streaming this video, but if you are tuning in, hop on this Zoom and ask us questions, and we'll be excited to answer your questions. Let me make sure the chat feature is working. If you are here, are you guys able to comment in the chat? Say hi in the chat if you can. And if not, I'm going to see if I can fix that. Show chat previews. I don't think the chat feature is working again. I'm not sure exactly how to fix that this time. For some reason, maybe it's on here. I think I found it. Maybe not. Okay, well, I think there is a Q&A. There's a Q&A spot. Wait, here's one spot. Okay, panelists can chat. Attendees can chat with everyone. Okay, there we go. Finally figured out how to turn it on. So you guys should be able to post in the chat if you would like. That way you guys can say hello and we can all communicate and talk. So good to see you guys. Lots of awesome familiar faces here and some new faces. So if you are totally new to this, my name is Tiffani Higgins, and I started the Have Your Cake and Eat It Too Facebook group a little over 3 years ago, about almost coming up on 3.5 years. And we are on a mission to help as many moms as possible be able to build wealth for their family and create financial freedom, but at the same time, getting to spend quality time with their kids and never having to feel like they have to choose between those two. Well, at some points you will still have to choose a little bit, but for the most part, you get to spend as much time with your kids as you want. You can arrange your schedule however you want so that you can, take the kids to the zoo on a Tuesday if that's something that you want to do, and be able to live the lifestyle that you want and create unlimited income for your family. And at the same time, helping a lot of business owners understand their financials so that they can make better decisions, grow their businesses, and have more money for their families as well, so they don't have to give it all to the IRS as they're growing their businesses. And they need bookkeeping to do that. So that's why we are here. Today, our main topic is going to be all around how to set your prices and your rates. So you have an idea, a general idea of like, how do you want to charge for bookkeeping services, and how the heck can all of the students in the academy and all of these bookkeeping business owners, how the heck do they make $100 an hour? So that's what we're going to talk about today, how that works, and what you can expect as far as like pricing for your services and starting your bookkeeping business, and how you can communicate that value to your clients. So thank you guys all for tuning in, saying hello. If you have any questions, post them in the chat. Let's see, if you're watching live, I'm going to put the link here to hop in here to the Zoom. That way you can hop in here and ask some questions as well. So feel free at any time to put a question in the chat, and even if it doesn't relate to what we're talking about, I don't mind. I'm an open book, and I go live every Tuesday at 11 to tell you guys, give you insight at anything that you need to know about starting or growing or operating a virtual bookkeeping business. So today we'll focus mostly about your rates and how bookkeepers set their rates. There's a lot of different theories of thought out there, but what worked really well for me, and believe me, I tried everything when I started my business, and what I landed on was not only the most profitable, but also the most scalable way to price your services so that you can grow your business really fast and not have to always take a super deep dive into your client's books to come up with an accurate price. So what we mostly base our prices on are 3 factors. So whenever students come to me and they're like, I need help with quoting this client, I always ask for 3 things. Number 1, what is the approximate size of the business in terms of revenue? Are they a $200,000 business? Are they a $2 million business? Are they an $800,000 business? And this is like revenue for the whole year. So like that gives you a really good general idea of what's going to be required. And how big they are also can usually, and it's not always, but usually determine the volume of the work that's going to be involved. And the bigger they are, obviously, it tends to be more work, but also they also need that stuff more timely. And they need to utilize their financials a lot more to make more decisions as they're growing. So it makes a lot of sense to price services loosely based off of your client's revenue, their annual revenue, because that's an easy indication and an easy tool to be able to quote them. Now, a lot of bookkeepers want to quote hourly, or they want to quote based on like number of transactions, things like that. And the reason that I don't like quoting on those things is because if you quote hourly, pretty much anyone that hears that you're going to be charging $100 an hour is going to freak out and go right to somebody else, right? So the reason that scares people is because they don't know how long it's going to take you to do the work. So when you say $100 an hour, to them, that could be $1 million because they don't have a clue how long it's actually going to take. And especially people that don't know anything about bookkeeping, they aren't going to be able to even estimate it for you. Like, oh, a good bookkeeper could get it done in this time versus maybe a slower bookkeeper in this time. But actually, our clients have absolutely no idea how long it's going to take, typically. So that's one reason why I don't ever quote people hourly, because they just freak out. They'll just go to the immediate worst case scenario. And then it's a really hard sell to kind of try to rein them in. So that's one of the reasons I don't like hourly. Now, for people that like to quote based on transactions, what I don't like about transactions either is that your client is always going to be cognizant of your work being tied to the actual volume number of transactions. And they're always going to know that that's how you quote, that's how you figure it out. So they'll be aware of that. And it's like something that I feel like will always be on their mind, even though technically it's not really anything that the business owner can control. And just to even have them thinking that the fact that every time they swipe their debit card or they write a check, that somehow contributes to what is being charged by the bookkeeper. And so I kind of relate all this to, for example, like if you were going to go on vacation. I love going to the Caribbean to all-inclusive resorts, because there is nothing worse than going to a resort that's super expensive. And then when you get there, everything costs additional. Like the drinks are like 20 bucks a drink. The food is like $20 to $30 per meal. And then you buy a bunch for your kids and then they never eat it. And then you go through the gift shop and there's all this stuff that the kids want to buy or that you might need or whatever. And you need to like go to the beach or whatever. And then they make you rent a towel and they make you rent the lawn chairs or whatever, the beach chairs. And it's like all that little stuff adds up. And for me, it takes the fun out of the vacation. Totally. Because like every single time you want to go do something, you have to make a decision and you have to think about that step. And even if you're going to say yes to everything because you've set money aside or whatever, you're still faced with that decision. Whereas like if I go to Jamaica and I go to the Sandals resorts, I literally pay like months ahead of time and I get there and everything is included. I can have whatever I want and do whatever I want and nothing costs money. There are a few things that you can pay extra for, but we usually opt not to do that because we just like the thought of like not having to think about it, right? So I always had the, stance where I didn't want my business owners my clients to be thinking about that and always be trying to figure out a way where I can save money on my bookkeeper. So those are the 2 reasons why those are the reasons why I never did those two things where I priced hourly or I priced based off of transactions. And it's really like just like digging down into the psychology of how people think, about things. And I always wanted my clients to be more than happy with just like paying me, because what I provide them is very helpful and very valuable. And I didn't ever want to put it into their mind that there is some metric out there that they could do to try to reduce my fees. So I never priced on those things. And the great thing about pricing based off of revenue is your clients are always trying to increase their revenue. So they're never, no matter what you do, they're never going to try to decrease their revenue unless they're just cuckoo. Because that's the whole point of having a business, is to grow it, So I love that. Plus it's a metric that's very in line with, as they grow and the volume grows and their, your duties and responsibilities grow. It's a very easy metric to go back and reevaluate. Hey, your business went from, $200,000 last year to $400,000 this year. So we need to talk about adjusting the fees accordingly, because the volume and everything has gotten more. And it's a really easy conversation to have. So now on the flip side, if you're charging someone hourly, you can go to them and say, maybe their business did double, but when you go and say, hey, it's taking me 10 hours to do this versus last year, it only took me 5. So I need to charge more. It's like, it's a little bit harder of a conversation, and especially with the transaction load. So I don't know. I really like doing it loosely based off of revenue. So when you know the revenue, that's the step one. It kind of puts you in buckets. So what we do is like, anyone that's making anywhere between like 200 to 800,000, that's going to be in like bucket one. So there's going to be like a monthly price range, a minimum to max monthly price range for that. And then like 800 to like 2 million, there's another thing, or maybe it's 800 to 1 million. There is a whole robust, awesome flow chart in our course. I think it's in How to Set Up Your Bookkeeping Business for Success course. It's definitely in the bookkeeping course. And it walks you through exactly how to figure out the exact price you should charge each particular client based on the 3 questions that I'm going to go over. We've only gone over 1 so far. So you can go through that flow chart, but basically it's like chunks of whatever revenue category they fit in is the starting point. The second question that you're going to ask is what industry they're in. Most industries are going to take the same amount of work, no matter what industry they're in, for that particular revenue level. So let's say you have like a $500,000 business and it's an insurance agent. Then you have a $500,000 business and that's a realtor. Okay, both of those businesses are going to take approximately the same amount of work, effort, and time, so they can be lumped together. Now, if you get a client that is in the construction industry and they want job costing or something like that, or they're in e-commerce and they've got inventory, those are industries that are, even though they're in the same revenue category, they're going to take a little bit longer. So question number 2 that you want to ask them is, what industry are you in? And really, we only have like 3 to 4 industries that are going to take extra time. You've got e-commerce, potentially construction, and then anyone that is like a real estate investor where they've got multiple properties. Those are the 3 main industries that are going to take longer. Now, another one is an outlier. This is the cannabis industry. That's a whole different ballgame. Not even talking about the cannabis industry when quoting here, that is completely different ballgame. So if you're looking to get into the cannabis, I highly recommend that for experienced bookkeepers and accountants. I wouldn't go after them necessarily in your first year, 1 to 2 years of business. But we're not talking about the cannabis industry today. That's a completely separate monster. So you've really got normal businesses, and then you've got businesses in the industries that are a little bit more challenging to quote, which again are like construction, e-commerce, and like real estate investors that have multiple properties. So those are the ones that are a little different. So then when you determine which industry they're in, there's going to be a surcharge or like a premium pricing for those harder industries, because they're going to be more complex. They're going to take a little bit more time. If they're not in those industries, then you can continue going down the flow chart, and you can stick in the normal category for the normal pricing. And then the last question that you want to ask is, does your potential client have either excess accounts or do they commingle their funds? So the answer to this question can make or break your $100 an hour. Because if you get a client and they come to you and let's say they fit into that, they're an insurance agent or whatever, they're making $500,000 a year, but they have 10 checking accounts and they have 5 or 6 credit cards, they have loans, they have like just a lot of stuff going on. That obviously is going to take you a little bit longer than the average client who maybe has like 1 or 2 checking accounts, 1 or 2 credit cards, maybe doesn't even have any loans. So you just want to find out from your client a list of all the different kinds of cards that they use, the loans, bank accounts, everything, and determine, is this normal or is this excess? If it's excess, it's going to go into that higher bracket where you're going to be charging more. And then, so some of them may have a smaller set of accounts, but they are actually commingling all of their funds with their personal account. That is also considered in the excess, the higher tier category. If people are commingling their funds, it's a lot harder to do their bookkeeping because you've got a lot of personal expenses that are mixed in, which in turn will cause you to have a lot of questions for your client. Not hard by any means, but you're going to be asking them a lot more questions. There's probably a lot more transactions to go through. And then you're going to have to go back in and recategorize them. So if you think about, how much just random daily things you charge through your personal account for like groceries, your utility bills, your Amazon purchases, things like that. Imagine if that's all mixed in with your business and how much additional work would be involved to try to break those two apart. Again, not hard, not rocket science, just extra work and extra time is involved. So you definitely want to know the answer to that third question. Do you have excess accounts or do you commingle? And so if they do say yes, and they probably won't tell you this, so you're going to have to ask actual real questions to determine it yourself. Then you can put them in that higher category if you determine that they do commingle or they do have a lot more accounts than the average client does. So let's go over this again. Let me pull up a little visual because I know that really helps for you guys to see something. So questions when quoting. We'll make this bigger. Questions when quoting. And again, we have our quoting flow chart is in the bookkeeping course. And then if you are in the academy, we have this thing called the quoting tool, which everyone loves. You get access to it for free if you get in the academy. This is an actual tool that we put together. It's very similar to the quoting tool that we use on our website to show you guys how many clients. Let me see if I can pull this up. I'll show you kind of what the quoting tool looks like. Let's see if you guys can see this. I'm gonna have to stop sharing. Let me stop sharing and then reshare my screen here. Okay. So if we go down here to this calculator, this one here. So this calculator tells you, how many clients you need to replace your work. Oh, wow, the screen looks really weird. Wonder if you guys can see it. Not sure if it's working right. Let me stop sharing real quick. Super strange. Okay. Let's see if that works. Facebook Live looks really weird. Okay, so this is the calculator that we have. If you want to know how many clients you need to replace your take-home pay and about how long it's going to take you to do that work, we have a calculator just like this for our students in the academy that shows them exactly how much to charge based on the answers to those questions. So you just say, okay, you answer this, you fill it out, and then it populates all these things. So it's very similar to this. You get access to that when you're in the academy. One of everybody's favorite features in there. But let's go over these again real quick. Share my screen with the right thing this time. Okay, so you can get the flow chart in the bookkeeping course, the quoting tool in the academy, but here are the questions. So number one, you need to ask your client approximate size of business / annual revenue. That is the first thing you need to know. Number two, what industry are you operating in? And remember that e-commerce, construction, and real estate investors are typically a premium service. And then number three is, do you commingle, see if I spell this right, or have excess accounts? So those are the three answers that you need from your clients in order to be able to determine where they fit in the packages. And we have the packages set up accordingly, so that way it's very easy for you to decide on how you want to charge someone, or when they come to you and you have like what's the word I'm looking for, like a ability to give someone a quote or a proposal. It's really nice because all you have to do is find out the answers to these three questions. You don't always have to get access to their books, dig around in there, come back a couple days later with a detailed proposal after you already spent like an hour looking at their stuff that's not paid for. This gives you a really great idea. And then of course, if you're doing back work for clients, you can, what we typically recommend is you figure out what the monthly rate's going to be based on these questions. And then you calculate the back work based off of 50% of that monthly rate. And then that'll give you your total for what you want to charge for any back work that they have. So if they're coming to you right now, it's almost September, they're going to have 8 months of work that they haven't done. And what we always recommend is that you only give the 50% off for the back work if they're coming on as new monthly reoccurring clients moving to the future, because your whole goal here is to build up your monthly reoccurring revenue so that you can replace your income, not necessarily just getting a bunch of one-time clients that pay you for back work. You want the ongoing work. That's more valuable than anything. Okay, so based off of this stuff, what questions do you guys have for me on pricing, on packages, and talking to your clients about this kind of stuff? Who's got questions? Lona says, any business with inventory. Yeah, I would say, so like a restaurant. Great question. Okay, so I actually have some videos in our academy about how to keep it simple with inventory. There's a couple of different ways that you can handle that with clients like a restaurant. QuickBooks Online is not the best at tracking inventory. So a lot of times when you have clients like that, they're gonna be keeping inventory either manually on paper or through their food POS system or some other outside program that your client is going to use exclusively for like running their business and tracking their inventory. And QuickBooks is going to be more for the financial statement preparation. So what you can do in an instant like that is you can get, when all the food purchases are coming in, you can code all of them either to inventory or to cost of goods, or like food cost account, food cost expense. And then at the end of every month, or however often that your client actually does track inventory, you can get a report from your client, a report from their POS system, and find out the total value of all of their current inventory. And then you just make a journal entry to adjust the total inventory on the balance sheet. So Lona, I don't know how much experience you have. For those of you that are watching that you don't even know anything about bookkeeping, the cool thing is this sounds like totally foreign to you, but we've helped so many students in the academy that didn't know diddly squat about even what the word journal entry meant. And now they are doing this stuff for their clients. It actually takes about 30 minutes per month to get all the information and calculate the journal entry and actually do the journal entry for your client to record the inventory on the books without actually having to handle their inventory inside QuickBooks, if that makes sense. So you don't actually, Lona, is a really great question to ask your client if you've got a restaurant or somebody that has inventory, how are you tracking your inventory? Will you be doing that in your POS system? Or is this something that you're wanting QuickBooks to do? I would say if they're planning on tracking the inventory out of QuickBooks, then it's in the normal category. If for some reason they want you to track all of the inventory, I wouldn't recommend that unless you're experienced with that. But if they do ask you that, that would be in more of like the excessive. That would definitely be in a higher package. Great question. And Heather says, does QuickBooks Online just have a contractor version or just a regular version? So QuickBooks Online doesn't have like contractor, like different types of versions like the desktop one does. However, they have different levels. So they have Simple Start, which I never recommend anyone use. It's so limited. And then they have Essentials, and then they have Plus, and then they have Advanced. And I believe the majority of my clients, I put them on Plus because the Plus program had like 99% of all of the features. The advanced version is kind of like for really large companies. So I'd say 99% of all of your clients will probably either be on Essentials or the Plus version. So if you have a contractor, they're probably going to want to be on Plus because I think you get unlimited class tracking and you can do job costing, job profitability analysis, which is what a lot of construction companies end up liking. So that's what the Plus version is really good for. But so like one thing that for those of you on here that are like somewhat experienced bookkeepers, or you do have a little bit of knowledge about this stuff, one of the things that I really love about the Academy, and that I wish that I would have had when I started my business, is the fact that when you come up with a client like that, like you have a construction company, you're formally using QuickBooks desktop contractor version, but you want to move to QuickBooks Online. There are so many people in the Academy that have done that. They're doing that they can really help walk you through that transition. So the thing that I struggled with the most with my business is I knew a lot about accounting. I knew a lot about bookkeeping. I had an accounting degree, a CPA license. I worked 4 years in a CPA firm. But when I got a new client in a different industry that I'd never worked in before, I had to finagle things and figure it all out on my own. And I did not have anyone to ask questions to, which kind of sucked sometimes because, Google isn't always accurate. I see people asking questions like right here in this Facebook group all the time. And then I see people posting answers and I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope that girl didn't listen to this advice, because you don't know who you're getting when you post like in just, random groups or you post on Google and you're searching and you're watching YouTube videos. You don't always know that you're getting the right answer. And then sometimes you have to like go through a lot of information and watch a lot of videos before you find your exact problem and then the answer to it. So that's one of the things I really love about the Academy, just like little one-off things like that you could spend hours and hours doing, versus you come to the Academy, hop on one of the office hour calls and do a private breakout room. And we show you exactly how to do it. And then boom, you're off on your way. And so not only is that like just way more profitable for you, but think of all the time that you get to spend with your kids because you're not stressing out in front of Google trying to find the answer on your own. That's at least me. I like to search for all the ways that I can streamline my knowledge, because the more you know, then the more you can change your life, the more you can, reach your goals. So let's see. Grace says, can we all be just as successful without going through the Academy and just using your course? So, obviously I sort of answered this question a little bit just now, but we definitely have had people that have been successful just reading my ebook. We've had people that have been successful using the course. Obviously it totally depends on the person, right? And it totally depends on what you're willing to get into it. What we see a lot of times is people buy the course and then they don't do anything, because they're like, they need accountability. They need somebody to help them along. They need a little bit extra learning available to them. So it really, really varies from person to person. But I will tell you, like for me, I will always, always invest in a coach, because you can learn anything you want. Like, it's all available out there. There's information everywhere for you guys. So there's no reason why anyone couldn't learn how to do this on their own. It's just, how fast do you want to learn it? How much do you want to do it alone? And how many mistakes do you want to have to like jump over on your own without any guidance? So, it's really all came to that. Like, for example, when I started my bookkeeping business, I had been doing tax preparation at my CPA firm. And so when I first started, I did bookkeeping and taxes. So my first tax season in business, oh my gosh, it was such a nightmare, because every single person that came to me had a different tax question or a different tax problem that I had never seen before. I'm not kidding you. I think I did 100 tax returns my first year, and there were 100 different problems. And you can only imagine like how much I had to research. I didn't have a boss or coworkers or anything like that to go ask. And I couldn't ask like just people in the industry that I knew, because they were all swamped doing their own tax returns. And so I had to research and research and research. And there were so many times where I felt like I wasn't even 100% comfortable with it. And so it was a lot of extra work doing it on my own. So that taught me, like, I was seeking out mentors my entire time that I was in business. And there really wasn't a lot of coaches back then when I first started. So it was challenging, but I will always pay for someone to help me pull time and money forward than I would save my money and try to do it on my own. That's just me. I think it's the smartest, most effective way to like really reach your goals. Like, I mean, and I'm not even saying, like, when I ask people to invest in our academy, it's literally because I think that it's going to be the best thing for them. And I wouldn't ask that of people if I didn't do the same thing. I've probably invested, cash that's come out of my bank, like $500,000 this year on mentors and coaches. And so like the bigger that this business grows, the more that I'm investing in coaches, because then I know like the impact. Like, if I take what I know and I try to keep going, then I'm going to make maybe a little bit more each year. Like, let's say, so like, well, for example, I'll tell you guys exactly what it's been like for this academy. The first year, I think I don't remember what we made the first year, but the second year we made like $1 million. And then the third year we made 3 million. And so now I'm like stuck at that level. But I invested in this mentor who, he was like, if I can show you how to get to 10 million, would it be worth you investing like $400,000 with me? And I've obviously, right, that's a no-brainer. If I pay somebody $400,000 and then they make me an extra $7 million from where I'm at right now, and I don't really know how to get there, would it be a smart investment? Absolutely. So, like, I've really changed my perspective on investing in myself. I'm like 100,000,000% in on investing in myself. And I also don't give two shits about debt. Like, a lot of people in here, they follow like Dave Ramsey, they want to be debt free and things like that. I don't care about that anymore, because if you keep investing in yourself, even if you have to invest in yourself with borrowed money, but then you take that investment and you make like 10 times, that's like 1,000,000 times better than investing in your 401k or the stock market or a savings account or anything like that. Think about the percentage. Like, a lot of people want to pay off their house because they want to save the interest and they don't want the debt. But if your interest rate's like, I don't know, even if it's like 6%, and you pay off your house and you save like a couple $100,000, let's say, at like, even just going like really high, you pay off your house next year and you're saving like $200,000 in interest over the 30 years. Well, what if instead of doing that, you invested, 10, 12, 15,000 into growing your business, and then your business makes you over 30 years, like, That's a lot. I'd have to get my calculator. I cannot do mental math, but like, even just in 5 years, let's say you're going to make like 500,000. If you only want to work part-time, you make $100,000 a year. In 5 years, you're going to make 500,000. That's way more money than you would have saved in interest by paying off your house. So we've all been like so conditioned that debt is bad, like over our whole life, and we got to hurry up and pay off our debt. And I can relate to that because I know I've been programmed that my entire life. So sometimes I slip back into that, and sometimes it is kind of scary. Like I don't try to pay off anything anymore. So it's like weird because I have this like internal struggle with myself, but I can see logically it makes so much more sense if you're going to make so much more money by, instead of paying off this teeny tiny little debt, but taking that money and investing it into something else. Even if you have to temporarily create more debt, you're going to make so much more money off of that. And it's just like, overall, it's a better investment to invest in yourself when you can turn and multiply that money versus investing and paying off your debt, where then you can't do anything with that. So, but for me, it's like, it's really just, do you want to be stuck where you are? Because if you're okay where you are and you don't want to change, go ahead and pay off that debt. And then you can just live, no worries. You can just stay exactly where you are. But if you're the type of person that wants to grow, you want more for yourself, more for your family. You want to see, how much money you can make and what kind of difference you could do for your life, then paying off your house is going to take you in the opposite direction of where you want to go. So we get that a lot. So I don't know why I just went off on a tangent on that, but I wanted to share with you guys, like, what it is. I have a lot of money on credit cards right now because I wanted to invest to see where I could go to get to 10 million. Has it been scary? And have I been like a little stressed in the last few months? Yes, absolutely. Because I'm not used to it and I'm not comfortable with it. But I know that if I keep going in this path, that not only will I be able to pay off all those credit cards, but I should be able to end next year making like 3 to 4 times more money than I did this year and the year before. So it's worth the risk. It's worth the risk for me. Hopefully that's helped. Tell me what you guys think about that. I'm really, really curious to know. Let's see. Chanel says, so if dealing with inventory, a good recommendation would be to make a journal entry as an expense and adjust. Yes, exactly. So if you're needing to adjust inventory, let's say you've got an inventory number on your balance sheet, you're coding all of the food cost or all of the cost of goods purchases to the expense category. Then at the end of the month, your client says, hey, we used to have 100,000 in inventory and now we only have 80,000. So you would do a journal entry to decrease the inventory by 20,000 and put it into cost of goods sold. So hopefully that helps. Depending on what level that you're at, that should be helpful. And sometimes if it's not helpful, it's over your head, you don't understand. That's what's awesome about the Academy is we can literally like explain it in more detail and walk you through every step. Kristen, how much does the Academy cost? Is it a monthly or one-time payment? So the way we have the Academy structured right now is that it is a one-time investment in the beginning, and that gets you a full year to utilize the Academy services. So when you get into the Academy, the first thing you get is we help you, or we design your logo and your website for you. We do use a program called ClickFunnels, and there is a monthly fee associated with that. But if you do use that program, we can design your website really efficiently for you. It's beautiful. It looks amazing. And then it also comes with an automated onboarding system that you can put your clients through so they know exactly what information to get you as a bookkeeper, and you can get started with their stuff. So you get the website design, logo design. We actually have a team that reaches out to you to help you with your LLC setup. So if you want help getting your LLC going, depending on what state you're in, you can choose to do it yourself and pay the state fees on your own, or you can have our partners do it for you. I think they do charge a small fee to do that. And then whatever it costs for the particular state you're in to file the LLC paperwork. They also give you a little information on if you do need somebody to help you with your taxes or tax planning, we have that, and setting up business credit. So that's something. And then when you get in the Academy, we have calls every week. I think we have about 20 hours worth of Zoom calls that you can hop on at all various times of the day and evening through the week. I don't believe we have any weekend calls right now, but we have calls on mindset, helping you guys like understand how all of this works, break past any, barriers that you have, like we all can work on our mindset, just like I mentioned, all of this like debt versus investment, talk and communication. There's lots of different issues that may come up for you as you're growing a business. I know for me, it did, like money mindset, knowing your worth, your value, communicating with clients, like lots of things. And we help with all of that. We have marketing calls, we have sales training calls, we have quoting calls. Vanessa leads our quoting calls. And last year around this time, she got a client that paid her $75,000. This was one client. It was like 6 or 7 years of back work, and she got $75,000 for it. So you're going to get help on quoting from the best of the best, and have access to like the quoting tool and things like that. And then we have office hours, like I mentioned earlier. It's about 4 different calls per week. The calls last anywhere from 2 to 3 hours at a time. And we've got like anywhere from 5 to 7, sometimes more mentors on those calls. And it's an open room, like Q&A discussion, but you can also request a private room if you need help with your first client. We give unlimited help with your first client. And then the breakout rooms are then also reserved for anybody that needs a screen share and get private confidential help with each of their individual clients. And we also help them with reviewing their financial statements. So if any of you guys want to talk about that, like streamlining the whole process, you want to hop on a call with our team and talk about the options, funding options for getting into the academy, I put the link right there. We love talking with you guys. We do free calls. So you can just book a call with us and hop on there, and we can talk about that with you. And you get a full 12 months in there. And when the 12 months is up, we even have a continuation option. You can become part of our academy alumni, and you get full access to the academy at a reduced monthly membership model. We're also going to be rolling out a new monthly call for academy alumni members only too, which is going to be really fun. Lona says, I see you have a UK course. Is there the same support for UK filing? UK filing, you mean like the UK version to the LLC? So we have a UK coach, and she's actually a certified life and mindset coach. But previous to that, she had her own bookkeeping and accounting firm in the UK. So she's available to coach if you're in the UK and you want help with this and you want to join in as well. So she walks you through. So the UK course talks about, exactly what you guys need to do in the UK to be able to get your business off the ground. There's a couple of different, differences. Obviously, it's different from the US a little bit. So like there in the UK, there is an anti-money laundering certification that you have to take. I think it's really cheap. It's like $90 or something. But yeah, anything that comes up that's different, actually fulfilling the bookkeeping work is like 90% the same from the UK to the US, but there's just a few like software nuances and a few like different business requirements that the UK has versus the US. And so we do have that all outlined in the UK course. And then of course we have our UK coach that you can hop on and always, run questions by and whatnot. So great question. Great question. Let's see, what else do you guys got? I got a couple on Facebook. Let me see. Vanessa says, I have been doing invoices for my brother's business manually through Word. Oh, that's tedious. I'm going to create QuickBooks for him. I'm guessing the first or cheapest would be fine, but how would I record all the invoices I have done manually on there and record as paid to keep track of all the invoices? Okay, Vanessa, a couple of really great tips for you. Number one, I wouldn't go with the cheapest. I would probably get at least essentials. There are, if you're in the academy, we can help you with this, but if you're not, you can Google, there's videos out there showing you how to import invoices into QuickBooks. So you may have to put it on maybe a CSV or an Excel file and import it in that way. But there is a way to mass import invoices in. So I would recommend doing that. And what else did you ask? How would I record all the invoices manually and mark as paid? Yeah, so when you bring in the invoices, into QuickBooks, and you're going to want to match them up with the money hitting the bank account. So it might be a good idea to pull them all in as sales receipts instead of invoices, and then mark them all as paid to undeposited funds. And then you can match up the deposits. So like, again, that stuff is like not hard. It's not rocket science, but if depending on your level of experience, you may take a long time to like try to figure this all out on your own. We can walk you through all of that in the academy in like 2 or 3 breakout sessions easily. So it just depends on, you know, like how much help that you want, how much knowledge are you starting with, and how much help do you want? But that's a really cool question. Amy says, this has all been so helpful. Thank you. For brand new bookkeepers with 0 experience, is it easiest to try to find clients who are service-based? Yes, absolutely. But again, like I was talking about earlier, if you do have clients that have inventory, as long as they're managing the inventory outside of QuickBooks and they're doing it on their own, where they can just tell you each month what the total inventory is, then it's still easy. You can still do inventory-based clients really easily in QuickBooks, just like you would a service-based business. And all you would have to do is an extra journal entry every month or every quarter or every year, depending on how often that they actually like go in and do an inventory count. So I had some clients where they didn't really check their inventory levels until the end of the year. And so then you just do a journal entry once a year. So it really isn't that much different. But yeah, I always say service-based businesses are the easiest to get started with. When you're first starting out, like painters, plumbers, insurance agents, realtors that sell houses. Yeah, really anybody in those trades. I'm trying to think what else. People that have hair salons too, if they track their inventory out separately, or they may not even have any. Lots of people like that. Trucking could be a good one to get into. I'd say that might be a little bit more complex, just because sometimes they've got excise tax returns and things like that, like different tax returns to do. But if they just want basic bookkeeping and basic financials from you, that would be easy to do as well. Yeah. Let's see, being an online bookkeeper though, can you be in the UK and do books for US clients as well as UK? Yes, Lona, absolutely. As far as I know, there's nothing wrong with being able to do that. So you can have clients, you can live anywhere and have clients anywhere. And so for you, I could definitely double check with my UK coach. You'd still want to follow all the UK guidelines of like getting your business set up and appropriate. But as a UK online bookkeeper, you could absolutely have clients in the US or in Canada or whatever. And we could help you with those, you know, making sure they're all correct for US based accounting. So yeah, absolutely. That's what's cool about it. I've had students that have lived all over the world. Used to have a student that lived in Ireland, and she did books for all US based companies. So that was kind of cool. And we've got students that are in Canada, and they get Canadian and US based clients. So we do have resources for that too. Let's see. Aaron says, when you talk about insurance and real estate agents, do you contact individuals or companies? When I talk about insurance and real estate agents, I would contact like the individual person. So like, for example, you're not probably going to be able to go to like State Farm, like the corporate office, and like be like, hey, can I do the books for, you know, all of your insurance agents? Of course, you could try that. But yeah, I'm more so mean like if you're out networking and you see like a State Farm agent that's attending your networking meetings, then that would be a really good business owner to work with. So someone that owns like a small local office. It could be like a big insurance company, but the insurance agents all own their own like small local offices, if that makes sense. And same with realtors, like they work with like Keller Williams or like all these like big, you know, real estate names, but they all are individual contractors that work for these places. And then you can do their books, you know, specifically for each one of them. All right. Yeah. And Lona, you know, one of the things that you could do too, Lona says she's American, but living in the UK. Whenever you join the academy and you have that call with our team, with our partners that help people set up their LLCs, you could talk to them about how exactly you want to set it up, because it's possible that if you do have some kind of like basis here in the US, that you could have a US based company and you do work for US companies, but you just live abroad. So I know everybody's situation is so different. And when it comes to this stuff, it's always great to get, good legal advice on setting up and structuring your entity based on your personal situation, because, everybody's is a little bit different. Okay. Vanessa hopped on here to ask her question. Awesome. I think I answered that for you. I'm deciding what to do about that. It feels complicated, but I might prefer a US LLC. Yeah, I would just highly recommend chatting with a lawyer. And of course, you can use our partner to do that as well. They should be able to advise you on that. But having a good lawyer that can tell you what's going to be best for your situation. I personally don't know a whole lot about how, international stuff works when it comes to taxes and LLC and entity filings. So that would definitely be something that you would want to talk to a lawyer about for sure before setting it up. What would be the best, okay, Vanessa. Yeah. So what was your question? Yeah, I think I mentioned you can there is a way to import all of that. And if you want to go back and watch, I kind of gave a detailed answer to your question, Vanessa, but you can go back and listen to that again. But basically you can import all of that stuff in. So like I said, we can help you in the academy do that probably over like 2 or 3 breakout sessions, and you can like just hammer right through it. Or you can just try to Google a whole bunch of videos on how to import either invoices or sales receipts into QuickBooks. And then you'd also want to put them to undeposited funds so that you can match up the deposits that are coming in from the bank account too. Let's see. Chanel says, will this be sent out as a temporary replay? I don't know if it's automatically going to send out the replay, but it is live in the Have Your Cake and Eat It Too group. So it'll be up for a while. You can watch the replay right here in the Have Your Cake and Eat It Too group. And Vanessa says, okay, great. I'll go back and rewatch it. Thank you. I'll get info about the academy. Yes. Let me put that in here again for you guys. If you guys want to book a free call, don't forget they're free calls. We love to chat with you guys about, how we can help you reach your goals. And we look forward to working with you guys all and helping you grow these businesses and make the business work for you and for your family. And so you guys can reach your goals and live the life that you want. So I'm happy to be of service and happy to help you guys. So I will be here next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Time again. And I'll see you guys all then. So everyone have a great, wonderful week. And we'll talk to you soon. All right, bye.